Hey everybody, welcome to Think Your Way to an Epic Life. And our guest today, Seth Rochefort, is an amazing realtor, and he has done a ton of self-work. And so Think Your Way to an Epic Life brought him on so that he could help show us some of the blocks that we have and help us work on the 90% instead of the 10% most of us are working on. So hang in there till the end. At the very end, he really goes into a lot of detail. Thank you so much for being here today, Seth. So, Seth, tell me a little bit about where you were born, where you were raised, your childhood.
I am from Atlanta, Georgia, originally, and I grew up 20 minutes north of Atlanta. I have a brother and a sister. They're both older than me, so I'm the youngest. So I always had older influences in my life growing up. And I stayed there until I was 22. And then I moved here to Albuquerque in 2012 for a brief stint, and that was when I was 22. But I came here and I was not having it. I worked here for about 3 months, and then I went to Las Vegas, Nevada, stayed there for 6 years during my 20s, which was very fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff there, but I learned a lot about myself during that time. And then after that, I went to work on a cruise ship in Hawaii. Did that for 7 months. That was a lot of work. You work every day, so it taught me a lot of skills, how to work hard. And yeah, after that I went back to Vegas, and now I ended up here in 2017.
Oh my gosh, that's so much to unpack. What a fun life. I mean, come on guys, haven't you ever thought I want to go work on a cruise ship? Right? Like you would think that would be just a wonderful gig, but not so much.
It was great at the time. It honestly taught me a lot about myself. I needed a change at that time. I was, working in nightlife in Vegas, and I worked in hotels, but Vegas is a very fast, crazy place. And, it served its purpose at the time, but then I went to work on a cruise ship, and it implemented those skills in me that I needed at the time, like, work ethic, responsibility, and you learn from the best. So working on the ship, it was great. It taught me a lot about myself. It was, hard work. You work every single day, no days off. It instilled a lot of great qualities such as responsibility and, work ethic, which now I've implemented into my real estate business. But they don't mess around on cruise ships. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for young people. You get to save money. I mean, they pay for your room and board. They pay for your food. You get to go see whatever island that you're going to. And yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity. I'm glad that I took that, I wouldn't say risk, but I was glad that I took that, whatever word I'm trying to say, took that chance or took something. I don't know, at the time it served its purpose, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I think being on a cruise ship, like you would be exposed to so many interesting people and from all over the world, and then the exposure going to islands and doing all that kind of stuff. What was the job you did on a cruise ship?
I was a server.
Okay.
It was fun. I remember it was one of the first times I opened champagne. It was the first time I opened it. I opened it with the little the folded napkin, but I didn't have my finger over the bridge, and it shot across the room. So that was so embarrassing. Yeah, it was embarrassing, but I didn't spill the champagne, so that's good.
There you go.
But that was one of my first. I think it was just like one of those first experiences that you have that's highly embarrassing, but no one really cares. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you grew up in apparently a pretty loving family, and you're the baby. I'm the baby too, and it's great to be the baby. So because you do get the influence of your older siblings, and now you work with your mom. What's that like?
It's absolutely amazing. My mom is my everything. She's my best friend. She's been with me through thick and thin. She is doing amazing. She has 5 houses under contract right now.
Go girl.
Yeah, she's rocking it. So I love you, Mom. You're amazing. But yeah, she got her license in 2021. Same with my sister. They both started taking their test during that time. And they both got licensed and didn't start with my team right away. But over time, they ended up like, let's join the team. And I had the leads, and I've been teaching my mom for the last year and a half, and she picked up very quickly. Southern hospitality. She has a Southern accent, so what's not to love about that?
She is a lovely lady. She is genuinely, you just feel the love out of her. You don't feel an ounce of judgment. You don't, it's just, how did you get so lucky to get such a great mom?
Everyone says that, and I'm so grateful for my mom. Honestly, she's just everything to me. I mean, I would not be the man that I am today without her. She has instilled a lot of great qualities into me, you know, kindness, loving, caring, and just overall, you know, never give up, that mentality. She just has always been a positive light. And when you're going through stuff, she's that person that's, you know, been there without judging you. I mean, obviously parents judge you to an extent, but she has been there for me with everything. Like, you know, no matter what I've been through, she's been by my side. Whether she wanted to or not, she was still there. And I think that, you know, it just means a lot.
It shows. It shows in the man that you are. You know, there was on Masterclass, there was an interview with a lady who was a sportscaster, and she was on Good Morning America, and her 3 siblings were all incredibly successful. Yet her parents were blue-collar workers. And one day she went to her mom and she said, "Mama, why do you think we all turned out so good?" And she said, "Because I taught you manners, baby. Because I taught you manners." And guys, I can't tell you how far manners goes.
Amen.
Thank you, please. Can I hold the door open for you? Right? Like, and I know, I'm so sorry, gentlemen. I do know that sometimes women get angry that you held the door open for them. I'm thanking you for each and every woman you've ever held the door open for, and please hold it for me, because it's just, and I'll hold it for you. It's
Absolutely.
It's just, let's be nice to each other. You know, manners go a very long way. So this podcast is called Think Your Way to an Epic Life. Would you consider your life epic?
Absolutely. I have been extremely blessed. I mean, obviously it comes with challenges, and, you know, you take it day by day, and sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. But yes, absolutely. I have been extremely blessed in my life, and blessed with the people in my life, blessed with the parents that I have, the siblings that I have. I think everything happens for a reason. And the reason I am where I'm at is because I have always treated people with kindness and respect, even though sometimes you don't get that in return. But I feel like I just genuinely want to help people. So I think that's why my life has been epic thus far. You know, that's my journey, and I've done a lot of self-work as well. So yeah, I would say if I wouldn't have done all of those things in the past, I would not be where I am today.
Okay, so several times you have said, I learned a lot about myself. For someone who has never taken the time, and I do believe most people don't, I just, like, this is who I am. Our identity is something that we hang on to and we fight to keep. This is who I am. What gave you the impetus to do that, to work on yourself and become someone you wanted to be and not be so tied to who you were at that moment?
I think I've always been somewhat of a, I wouldn't say overthinker, but I've been very intuitive to my feelings and things that are happening in my life. You know, my parents had me when they were older, and my sister's 11 years older than I am. So I always had these older influences and felt like I should have been somewhere different. Even though I'm the youngest, I always had that pressure on me, like go to school, get a degree, you know, then get a job. That's what my whole family did. And I was the only person in my family that didn't finish a 4-year degree. I went to UNM, but I didn't finish. And during that time when I moved here, I left Vegas. I was kind of lost at the time. You know, we all go through stuff. And when I came here and started school, I started therapy, talk therapy. And my sister was actually the one that referred me to somebody, just so I could talk to somebody, because I'm a very private person, even though I'm, you know, very outgoing and spontaneous. But I to like share feelings with people, it wasn't easy for me in the past. You know, I kept a lot of things bottled up. I think most people do. And just going to therapy for 5 years and talking to somebody, even though there was a lot of times I had nothing to talk about, but the times that we did have, to unpack, baggage from the past that we all have, it was difficult. And I went through the motions as they came up, but I went every week for 5 years and I graduated last year. And, it's amazing to see where my life has come from and where I was 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago, even in my childhood. I think that why I'm in this position is because I did that work too, because I meant to help other people. I love just talking people through things. I'm that counselor. Some people call me to confide in me with issues that they're having, and I'm very understanding because I had someone give that to me. This gentleman that I saw for 5 years, he was like a father figure, and he just had a non-biased view of my opinions or whatever I was going through. They mirror what you're talking to them about. So they basically mirror exactly what you're saying to them, but they mirror it as if you were talking to yourself. It's kind of, they give you tools and, things that you can do at home. But yeah, that's honestly, I think that's really why one of the main reasons where I'm at, why I am where I'm at, is because of going to therapy and doing other types of healing during that time.
This keeps coming up. It's a little freaky. You guys are my audience. This keeps coming up. Unhealed trauma from the past is something that apparently absolutely has got to get resolved for you to be able to move on. Is that what you're talking about?
I would say so. I feel like everyone I've talked to, I'm that one person that loves to have heart-to-hearts with everybody. Like, I love getting to know people, and I want to know your story so I can share. I just feel like I have, that guidance because I've learned from my own healing of my own trauma. I think if you don't heal from trauma, we all have trauma. Every single person has been through something. Everyone. We're all the same. Yes, we have different circumstances, but we're all the same. We're not very, very different from each other. If you talk to people, which most people don't really do that, you'll realize that we've all been through something that is very traumatic, that has shaped us into who we are. We all come from different families. One parent might be there, the other parent might not. Both parents may be there, but then they're not like emotionally available. There are so many different reasons as to why we are the way we are. And I would say that everyone at some point should do some type of self-healing or self-work. I mean, it's a progress, everything's a progression through life. But I think that if you have someone that you can trust, that's not someone that you necessarily know, like a family member or a friend, yes, you can talk to them, but they know you on a different level and sometimes can use it against you. Especially like if you're in a fight and they just say something impulsively, that you remember that and it stings and you're like, okay, but then you have forgiveness too. I think that forgiveness is probably the number one thing that has changed my life. There's a lot of people that hurt us. And if you don't forgive, forgiveness is for yourself. It's not for the other person. It's to heal yourself. And you don't hold in all of that negative energy. Yes, it hurts and it sucks to go through that. So anything that is difficult or challenging, something that hurts you immensely, if you don't go through that, you'll never get to the other side. That's just my personal opinion, but I feel like if you don't address the problems in your life, we all have problems, it doesn't matter. It's just those problems that I would say the ones that keep you up at night, you cry about when you talk about them. Those are the type of problems, from your past. You just have to deal with them. And once you deal with them, they don't affect you the same way anymore.
You can go back and kind of rewrite your history, because once that happens, when something hard like that happens to you, you go a different route. You become a different person from that point on. And so you can go back into, check out the podcast that we did with the narcissist, because it's really brilliant. Ex-Narcissist is really brilliant. You can go back to that point. If something really bad happened and you were abandoned when you were 8 years old, you go back to that 8-year-old and you help that 8-year-old heal, which sounds so ridiculous, doesn't it? Like for we're intelligent people sitting here talking about going back and healing your 8-year-old self. Explain that to us.
Yeah, I didn't really realize it at the time. When I started therapy, I was very reserved, and I didn't trust people, because I had been hurt by a lot of people close to me. Obviously, I had a role in that as well. But when you're hurting, you hurt other people. We all go through it. But that time, when I started explaining my life, and then he was telling me that from the time that you're born until you're 8 years old, so that 7 or 8-year-old range, that's what shapes you into that time frame, shapes you into the person that you are as an adult. And that's how you'll approach the rest of your life. If you don't like heal from whatever happened to you at a young age, you're going to continue going through this subconscious motion. It's all in our subconscious mind. I've actually done hypnotherapy as well, which is, people think it sounds crazy, but it's actually not. It's just deep meditation. And they get into your subconscious mind and they talk you through things, and they go back into these scenarios from your childhood or whenever you had these recent traumas, and they go back and they rewrite the story and put a good story in there. And that one of the things that he did was, it was like a movie reel, and he would fast forward or rewind back to my past. We would talk about what was bothering me at that time, because you're talking to your child self. And then he would, say like, all these like positive affirmations, and then you would pause and you would fast forward to where you are now. So it stays in that place where you are as a child. And our brains are so amazing. When you talk through things, like the subconscious mind is 90% of your mind. And if you don't deal with the subconscious, that's where all of these problems arise, because you're like, why am I doing this? I'm a smart person. I know what I'm doing. But you have to go to that place. And a lot of people don't know how to meditate either. It's very hard for me to we don't remember to breathe, or it's hard for me to sit still. I can't wake up in the morning. I don't want to say I can't, but it's very challenging to sit still. You wake up, your phone's going off, or if you have kids or animals, there's a lot of stuff going on in the morning. So it's very hard to even sit for a few minutes, but you can do it. It's just that is, if you're interested in some type of meditation, I would highly recommend going to a hypnotherapist. I have an amazing one here in Albuquerque. His name's David Fisher.
Okay.
But he helped me during that time of talk therapy. So I think during that time, I've done the Reiki and all that other stuff too. I just really I had a very challenging past. I went through a lot of hard times as a child that I had to deal with as an adult. So that's why I did all this healing, is because I didn't want my life to end up a different way. And it was very challenging, emotional, depression, all those things that come up with that. Anxiety. Yeah, it was.
Good on you, though. I got to tell you, Seth, because I'm a little bit older than you. And he's laughing out loud, right? You look amazing. Say it again. No, but I am a little older, and it took me until this year's old to deal with past stuff. And it came up, for me, it came up in a health issue. Right? Because if you don't deal with it, whatever it is, if you don't deal with it, it will get bigger and it'll get worse. And for you to already at your age be healed from so many things, there's no limit to what you're going to do in this world. You're pretty limitless. So let's talk about some of your success. You're in the top 1% of all realtors in the entire MLS, which the MLS is the multiple listing service for the Southwest. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. I'm glad you came to the show today so you could know that you're in the top 1%.
Oh my God.
How does that feel?
I didn't even know that. That's amazing. I One thing about me is I don't focus on the now. I just work. So I was telling you, like, my production, I don't keep track of my production. I just find out at the end of the year. That's typically like you know, how some people have babies and they don't want to find out until they have them. That's kind of like me. Or not find out, but like find out what the sex is. I have a client that has 7 kids, but like I know some people that do that. I know that's like a weird analogy, but but for me, I don't really keep track of what I'm doing. I just go, and you know, that's awesome. I really don't give myself a lot of credit. I just kind of, I don't know, I just work. I'm like shocked to hear that.
Yeah, well,
that's amazing.
It's huge. It really is huge. The 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle, are you familiar with? Okay, so in any profession, in anything in life, this Italian economist figured this out in like the 1800s, that 20% of his pea plants produced 80% of the peas. And he's like, is that true everywhere else? And everywhere it's pretty much true. So 20% of the realtors do 80% of the business, which conversely means 80% of the realtors only split up 20%, which is why we don't look as bad as we could in the public's eye, right? Because it's not a career where you just, I'm going to go do this for 6 months or 7 months. And talk to me about the day in the life of you.
So, day in the life, I've learned over time I used to wake up and answer my phone immediately. So I've learned to stop doing that. It's not good for your mental health. I'll say that. It's not saying I don't want to be available. If there's an issue going on, obviously I'll be there. But I've learned to start at 9 a.m. and I'll work until about 6-ish. I still work after that, but I really don't take on any new calls or anything like that during that time unless it's an emergency. I've implemented that strategy from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But my day-to-day, I wake up, I have 2 amazing dogs, 2 amazing Pomeranians. I walk them first thing in the morning, have my protein shake with collagen and colostrum and chlorophyll. I'm that person that you come to my house, I have every vitamin that you can think of. I'm very into the healthy lifestyle. So I'll do that first thing in the morning, and then, you know, read devotions or, you know, the Bible or anything like that, you know, instills something good for the rest of the day. You know, if you jump up and you're chaotic first thing in the morning, which I did for a long time, and I still do sometimes, I'll say that. But I do those things first thing in the morning, obviously, you know, get ready and then start my day by either showing houses or meeting with my transaction coordinator and or my director of operations. Love you, Serena and Savannah. They're amazing. They truly have changed my entire life. And I'm a Zillow Premier agent. I have a new construction community that I was hired on to do, which is insane. But those things take up most of my time because of the amount of leads that we have coming through. Mm-hmm. So I kind of leave my days open after the morning, just because I want to be available to show houses or go to a listing appointment. I'm very spontaneous. I don't like to keep myself in a box. But yeah, I'm pretty much like Monday through Sunday, I'm working. I don't ever have downtime.
So Monday through Sunday, there's
Correct.
No days off.
I would say I do take some time off, but I have a team of 3 people, so they help me with a lot of stuff. But I'm the team leader. I have to be successful in order to keep my team up and running. I mean, I have huge marketing expenses, so it's that's really why I have to work as much as I do. But I'm on year 4, so I just started in 2020, and I didn't really pick up until 2021. So I did well my first year, but 2021 was that year. I mean, obviously the interest rates were amazing at that time, and it doesn't matter. I mean, there are ways around things, but now I just leave my schedule open. I don't really have except for in the morning. The morning is that one time that you have to yourself. Another thing that I would say is I do go to the gym. I don't always go, but self-care is extremely important.
Okay. So you get up, you work out, you're available mostly in the afternoons for whatever comes up that you need to handle. And you mentioned this new development. I'm so sorry for those of you who are not in New Mexico, because this won't be all that interesting to you, but the rest of us are very interested. Somebody from New York basically bought out TRC.
Correct.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so James Prendamano, he is a commercial broker from New York, and he has been working with Joe Boyden. Joe Boyden is amazing. He builds beautiful homes, absolutely stunning. And they partnered up, and he was here for he's had the land down there for a long time. I can't remember how long it's been. I think like 10 years, maybe a little longer. But they came together recently and started looking for brokers here in New Mexico. And I know he had the opportunity to work with other brokers in Elephant Butte and Truth or Consequences. And somehow he got to me. I don't know it. I still thank you, Kyle Avery, for referring me. But the fact that he even selected me, you know, because I'm still 4 years, he knew my story. So he is the most humble person. He's kind. James and his entire team at Pre-Real, they're absolutely incredible people and very smart, efficient, and they want to change New Mexico. They want to make it, you know, they want to make it as great as it is already. New Mexico is a hidden gem. You know, I'm not from here. So when I moved here, I was not a fan of it at first, just because I'm used to like the hustle and bustle. Vegas, Atlanta, it was very fast paced. And, but yeah, he's bringing that here, and New Mexico is going to be the next big thing from what he's telling us. And people that are moving here in droves. I mean, there are a lot of people coming here from all over the country. I know that's been the case in the past, but being on Zillow and also seeing the people traveling to Elephant Butte and Truth or Consequences, I've been meeting people from all over the world in this little town. And it's crazy. I mean, his vision, I mean, they are very smart people, and they invested a lot of money into this community. And yeah, that we're basically building a city.
That is crazy, and it needed a city. Yeah, I was there recently on at a yoga retreat in TRC, and stayed at an Airbnb and kind of drove around the town. And at the town itself, not around the lake, but the town itself, I would say is, I don't know, well over 50% mobile homes.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are coming in and you're putting in luxury homes on the water.
So they are sporadic throughout the community.
Okay.
The Turtleback Mountain Resort, that will have 1,300 houses. It's going to have a golf. It already has a PGA golf pro and an assistant golf pro. They're going to have custom. They're going to have pools. They're going to have a fitness center. They're going to have an event center, something like that along those lines. Or pickleball court, tennis courts, driving ranges.
That is crazy. Okay, so right across the Turtle Mountain, right across the river, like on that side of the river where it was undeveloped, that's where all those houses were.
Yeah.
Oh, I want one of those. Okay, so this little town, TRC, that has this really big lake that pretty much New Mexico doesn't have a whole lot of water, and everybody in the state goes to that lake, is now going to become something completely transformed in the next, how many years do you think?
I would say the next decade, it's just going to keep getting better and better. But the city itself has 2 million visitors every year, which is the reason why that go to the lake, which is the reason why they invested heavily into this area, and it has room to grow. So the city itself of Elephant Butte and TRC, they are both being built out by Pre-Real. You know, they bought.
Can you say that again? By
Pre-Real Investments,
okay,
which is James Prendamano's business out of New York. Okay. But they have many different. What I'm trying to say, projects right now all over the country, but their main focus right now is New Mexico. And yeah, it's amazing what they're doing down there. I mean, they're literally transforming this entire city, which has been somewhat desolate. People haven't been going down there. There hasn't been a lot of infrastructure. So because he has a commercial background, he's already building businesses down there, and they're, hospitals, jobs. They're building a tram system. Yeah, we met with the owners of Spaceport, or the directors of Spaceport, which is really cool. While we were down there, we met the mayor of Elephant Butte, the mayor of TRC. So this is all like, it's wild what's going on down there, and it's people that are from here probably are like, that doesn't, it sounds exciting.
Compute. It doesn't compute. It just doesn't compute, but it's happening. And it is so cool to see something like that transform. And just so you know now, TRC, every third Saturday, or I think it's the third Saturday of every month, I'm not positive on that, they have an art crawl, which is super cool. It's a really neat, where all the businesses downtown, you just go into each one and they've got all kinds of, it's just a really neat community of people. So I wonder how they're going to be reacting to all the new infrastructure coming in.
The town is welcoming them with open arms. They have had this land for a significant amount of time, and they did go through those motions where people were, maybe not open to it, but they really just want to bring up the community.
Cool.
And they want to leave the culture, they want to leave everything the way it is, and just lift up this community because they want to help New Mexico. It's really amazing because they're such good people, and they really just love New Mexico. They love the culture, they love the space, and that is their main motive, is to just make New Mexico an even better place to live. And they literally invested all this money on their own. They don't have investors that they owe a bunch of money to. This is their bread and butter. This is their dream. They invested everything into this, and that's why they know for sure it's going to take off. We're pretty much sold out of everything minus a few houses right now.
How many homes have you sold out there?
So between pre-real, there's another team out there that's representing them as well. We're getting ready to go live today. So they sold most of it with realtors and down in TRC and Elephant Butte. But now it's kicking off this week. So I'm getting ready to list 7 properties today. And then the other team is listing 7 properties. So they're slowly building. They're not going to just build to build. They're building slowly, so people come into the community and see things are happening there. But they've already sold out of most of the lots that they have to build properties.
And you mentioned, just for the realtors that are watching, you mentioned that you're very realtor friendly.
Yes.
So if you have a buyer, give this guy a call.
Yeah, so the one amazing thing that we negotiated an amazing deal with James and his team at Pre-Real, and they are going to be paying buyer broker commissions, 3%. You don't even have to go down there. You will sign a buyer broker agreement, and we can represent the buyer for you if you don't want to drive down there. But if you do, you're more than welcome to. But they are implementing that. I don't know everything that is going on in the world with the new commission thing that's going on with the Realtor Association, and but they're taking care of brokers, and they're you know that you're going to be taken care of if you're working with us.
So Seth, this has been incredible. If someone is looking at your life and they're really not envy in a bad way, but they're like, he's got it together. He seems so calm, cool, and collected, and he's incredibly successful. Where can they start?
I would say that self-work is the most important. I really, truly believe that if you're not working on yourself on a daily basis, you can't get to that next level in life. I would say with being in multiple, different types of therapies, talk therapy, hypnotherapy, I've done Reiki and a few other things, but I feel like starting there and figuring out your why, that's honestly, truly, why are you here? What are you here to do? And what can you do to implement those things? So I would say start with self-work, whether it's, talk therapy or some type of therapy, just so you can get out of your mind and give it to somebody else that can reflect what you're going through, and you work through it in a constructive way. instead of being overly emotional about it, because we're emotional beings. So I would say self-work is extremely important. Any type of therapy, go to someone you don't know. I think that that's very helpful, as someone that you can trust and that is your confidant, that's not going to go share it with a bunch of other people. I think that that's extremely important. And then other than that, once you do that self-work, I think you just, day by day, you continue to get better with time. Whatever you implement, I like to say a jack of all trades, master of none, but you want to focus on one thing at a time, instead of like, oh, I'm going to work out and then I'm going to eat healthy. And then you don't work out, but you eat healthy, and then you're like hard on yourself. So you go to the gym first and then do that for a week or 2, 3 weeks. Then you start eating healthy, or vice versa. It's just like you focus on one thing at a time, and then you get to that next level. It becomes a habit, if you do one thing at a time versus multiple things. So I would say self-work, self-care, to like going to the gym, eating healthy. Those are very important to me. And yeah.
And one last thing, even though you have achieved unbelievable amount of cool stuff in your lifetime, and your short lifetime from my view, right? You've achieved all this stuff, you've gone all these places, you've done all these things, yet you still hired a coach. Why?
I think that you could always use help. Like, I don't know everything, and I definitely need guidance. I think we all need guidance, no matter where you're at in your life. Working with Amanda Rempe, she's fantastic. Everyone that I've come in contact with at Keller Williams, coaching wise, has been amazing. But having a coach and having someone that has been where you've been, even though sometimes I don't feel like I necessarily need one, I think it's always good to have someone to talk to in your corner, someone that has obviously done what you've done and you want to get to that next level in your life. I do it when the time feels right, but always have some sort of mentorship or coaching if you can. I would say I invest heavily into marketing and coaching, and having someone there just to talk to. I mean, I want to learn as much as possible and be the best person that I can be. And if you don't have a coach, it's not saying that you can't be the best, but it's definitely, you can't be the best without someone in your corner, because you'll learn from them. And that's how you become the best, is you just continue to learn throughout your life.
That's right. I mean, the top in every world have coaches. Like Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever, yet he had coaches. They weren't ever as good as him, but they could see things in him that he couldn't. So that's what you're looking for, is someone to lead you through. I cannot thank you enough. This has been off the charts, very interesting. So thank you for coming, and we'll put all your information if anybody wants to get in touch with him about real estate or anything else. Hit him up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kara. Appreciate it.
You too.